2,000 years ago, there was a building in Egypt that may have held the sum total of human knowledge. Every scroll, every theorem, every map, every poem the ancient world had produced gathered in one place, the Library of Alexandria. And then it was destroyed. We know the names of works that vanished, but will never read them. Aristarchus of Samos argued that the Earth orbited the Sun nearly 1,800 years before Copernicus. His full work? Gone. Hero of Alexandria built a working steam engine in the 1st century. The blueprints? Lost. Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference with astonishing accuracy. His complete methods? Ashes. Here's the terrifying thought. If that knowledge had survived, uninterrupted, expanded, passed down, the scientific revolution might not have begun in the 1500s. It might have begun around the year 1000. The Industrial Revolution? Around 1200. And in 2026, humanity might not be debating Mars. We might already be heading to another star. This is what the world looks like if the Library of Alexandria never burned. First, understand what it really was. Calling it a library is like calling NASA a place where people look at stars. It was the world's first true research institution. Founded around 295 BC by Ptolemy I, it was part of the Mausoleum, the Temple of the Muses. Scholars from across civilizations were invited. Greek philosophers, Egyptian astronomers, Babylonian mathematicians, Indian physicians, Persian engineers. They received housing, food, tax exemptions, and one mission: advance knowledge. At its height, the library may have held between 400,000 and 700,000 scrolls, an unimaginable concentration of information in a world where copying a single scroll took months. But its real power wasn't storage, it was collision. Greek geometry met Babylonian algebra, Egyptian medicine met Indian surgery, Persian astronomy met Greek physics. For the first time, humanity's best ideas were in the same room. And then, slowly, it disappeared. Not in one dramatic blaze, but through centuries of political turmoil and neglect. Julius Caesar's siege damaged it. Religious violence struck later. By the 7th century, it was gone. Here's what most people don't realize. We possess perhaps 1 to 5% of all classical literature. The rest is lost. We have 7 of Sophocles' 123 plays, fragments of Sappho, the complete works of Democritus? Gone. Much of Archimedes' advanced mathematics? Destroyed. Nearly everything Hipparchus wrote? Vanished. Yet even the fragments that survived helped ignite the Renaissance and the scientific revolution. So imagine if nothing had been lost. In this alternate timeline, the library survives. Not just as a building, but as an institution, a culture of open inquiry and cross-civilizational collaboration. In our world, the fall of Rome shattered Europe's intellectual infrastructure. Literacy declined, scientific knowledge faded, recovery took nearly 1,000 years. But here, that collapse doesn't erase accumulated knowledge. Scholars continue building on past discoveries. Hero's steam engine becomes more than a novelty. It becomes the foundation of mechanical engineering. By the 3rd or 4th century, steam-powered pumps and mills are common. Medical knowledge expands continuously. Anatomy advances earlier. Plagues like the Black Death might be understood, contained, perhaps even prevented. By the year 1000, the Mediterranean world experiences its own industrial revolution. Steamships cross seas. Printing spreads literacy centuries early. Mathematics advances toward calculus long before Newton or Leibniz. Once that acceleration begins, it compounds. Electricity is harnessed by 1200. With advanced metallurgy and mathematics, the generator becomes inevitable. Telegraph systems emerge by 1300. Communication accelerates trade and innovation. Now consider global consequences. In our timeline, European colonization was driven by technological gaps. In this alternate world, those gaps may not exist. If Alexandrian-style scholarship spread widely, civilizations across Africa, the Americas, and Asia develop in parallel. Instead of conquest, we might see exchange between technological equals. The transatlantic slave trade might never occur. By 1500 in this timeline, the world resembles our early 1900s. Powered flight is emerging. Radio exists. Mechanical computing machines are evolving. Bacterial infections are largely controlled. Life expectancy rises dramatically. Then progress accelerates further. Nuclear energy is harnessed by 1600, centuries before our Manhattan Project. But without the desperation of global wars, it may emerge first as a power source, not a weapon. Space exploration begins in the 1700s. The moon is reached by 1750. Mars colonized by 1800. By 1900, humanity has probes traveling toward nearby stars. Fusion power is common. Genetic medicine eliminates many hereditary diseases. Global education and connectivity are universal. And in this alternate 2026, climate change was solved centuries ago. Fossil fuels are ancient history. Human lifespan may approach 2 centuries. Signals from interstellar probes may already be returning, all because a building in Egypt did not burn. But here's the uncomfortable question. Would saving the library really have prevented the Dark Ages? Some historians argue no. They claim the destruction was a symptom, not a cause. Political collapse, economic instability, and extremism would have disrupted progress regardless. And they're not entirely wrong. Knowledge alone doesn't guarantee advancement. Civilizations have risen and stagnated before. But the library wasn't just knowledge, it was a system, a living culture of inquiry and collaboration. Every time that model reappeared, in Baghdad, in Renaissance Italy, in modern research institutions, civilization leapt forward. The tragedy of Alexandria wasn't just the loss of scrolls, it was the loss of momentum. We like to believe progress is inevitable, that electricity, nuclear power, space travel, these discoveries were bound to happen. History suggests otherwise. Progress is fragile. It's a chain. And when one link breaks, centuries can fall into the gap. The Library of Alexandria may have been one of those links. When it broke, we didn't just lose books. We lost time. Every plague that might have been prevented. Every war fought with outdated tools. Every century of delay. That's the real cost of what burned. Right now, somewhere in the world, there's a child capable of curing cancer, solving fusion, or carrying humanity to the stars. The only question is whether we give them access to the full sum of human knowledge, or whether we let it burn again. If this made you see history differently, subscribe. We explore alternate timelines every week. And tell me, which lost ancient text would you most want to recover? If you enjoyed this scenario and want more alternate histories like this, consider subscribing to Histopia Stories and supporting the channel with your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.